Let's get into it. We got Tim Dillon and Joe Rogan on the podcast today, and they are talking about why these people in power, these senators, these politicians, why do they stay for so long? The answer will surprise you. Wait until you hear that answer, because I think they're right on the nose with this one. And then also, they're touching on dictatorship and if that's a possibility. I have a very interesting take on that you're going to have to wait until the end to hear, because I think it is possible for dictatorship to step in at some point. It's not something I want, but I think they could pull it off if they did something. I'll get into it at the end, but also they're going to be talking about censorship. You know, the people who can just turn things on and off for any creator or person who's in the public eye. Just like that, you know? And then Joe Rogan asks Tim Dillon, what is Tim going to do when Tim gets to Joe's level and they decide to come after him? Let's get into the clip.
So, but your nature as a human being is to tell me something I would like to hear. And then we see the even Trump, you know, who came in and said, I want to do this, that, and the other thing. There are all of these forces that keep Trump from doing these things, whether you agree with them or not. It's not as easy. You can't just wave a wand and make things happen. There's this corrupt system that has gone on forever. And, you know, the answer to that is, you know, who knows? You don't want to put a dictator in. You don't want a guy with absolute power. But you also look at the system we have now as this weird, you know, closed doors, behind the scenes, where everybody's out for themselves. And you go, how do you get anything done? How does anything get done when we have Congress people engaging in insider trading or out there?
Wait.
Yeah.
Who's doing that?
Pelosi.
Really?
Nancy Pelosi and her husband.
Are you sure?
I would guess. If I had to guess, I would say they are taking information and weaponizing it and using it to enrich themselves.
How is that not illegal? Can you turn the AC up? It's a little warm in here, Jamie. Crank it up a little bit. I just don't understand how that's not illegal. I really can't imagine. Did you just see what they asked Nancy Pelosi about it? And she's like, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Just puts the microphone down.
Well, this is
okay, bye.
Part of the reason why somebody like her might want to stay in office forever is because if she gets out, they might start looking into stuff.
Yeah, then they come for her.
Right? So it might be, maybe you go, why is this old? Because she's an old dinosaur.
Yeah,
she's a pterodactyl.
Yeah.
And you go, why is she in there? And you go, well, part of her being in there might be a way to insulate herself from people looking into things and going, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, the husband just dumped $5 million into NVIDIA right before they put out. They decided to do something with chips. They started to do something with semiconductor chips in the United States.
Right.
So right before they passed this, he goes and spends $5 million on
and those
NVIDIA
are the
stock.
Democrats. Those are supposed to be the people that are for the working class, which is like funny.
You know what's weird about
so
that? He sold it right before too, which is a very strange thing that happened. I don't understand.
What do you mean? He sold it when it was down and then bought more?
He bought it, and then like a week, it seems like a week or two after everyone started making a note of it, they sold it, and they said like he sold it at a loss.
Oh, he probably had to cover his ass.
See, right here it says he sold it at a loss.
Wow. He sold it to avoid any misinformation. Click on that.
That was an awkward dinner. Yeah, she's like, get it out, dump it. Can you imagine her just going, dump it, dump it. What did you do, Paul? Dump it. I told you to do it under another name.
Oh my God, that's amazing that he would blow $5 million at a loss. Wow, he sold millions worth of stocks in chipmaker NVIDIA at a loss the day before the Senate passed a multi-billion-dollar bill aimed in part at boosting U.S. chip manufacturing that sent NVIDIA shares surging. A decision Pelosi's office said was to avoid further misinformation about the couple's investments. Oh my God, that is amazing. What kind of fucking misinformation would it be when we actually have the information? That's what's wild.
It's not misinformation.
They just call things misinformation.
Yeah, it's information.
Yeah, it's actual real information.
Yeah. So this is the problem, you know? It's like, how do you, when a country has reached this point where these are the actors and they're bad actors and we know that, and this is only what we know about.
Yeah.
You know, the next inevitable step, which again I don't think is good, is a dictatorship. Is somebody who comes in and executes all these people and goes, I'm now which is not good, but that does seem to be the next inevitable step.
They're going to do that through a method where it doesn't look like a dictatorship, like a social credit score system that's attached to a centralized digital currency.
That's right.
You see Maxine Waters the other day talking about a digital currency
that's
to compete with China.
They can delete you. They want to delete. Yeah. They've always wanted to delete you. Like I used to, a couple of weeks ago, I was getting 100,000 views on an Instagram story. Now I'm getting 30. I don't know what happened, but they just shut something off. They could just shut things off. Yeah. You notice these weird things that they do, and you notice it on YouTube. So they want to be able, and eventually they want to fuck with your money. They want to fuck with your money because that's the heart and soul of what they can do. So that centralized currency or whatever it is, they will just enforce compliance by the terrifying reality that they can take it all from you immediately.
And AG1 has been helping me feel healthy for years, and if you management free travel, doing the right thing. And there's got to be some, well, we know there's coordination between Twitter and the White House.
Yes.
Is that Alex Berenson case? Do you know what's going on with that?
I know Alex Berenson. I don't know that he was deleted from Twitter, right?
And he got back on. He won in court.
Oh, interesting.
He's back on Twitter. Not only that, but now he wants to sue the White House because he has documents that show that the White House directly contacted Twitter about the things that he was proven to be correct about, which is why he was let back on Twitter.
Yeah.
But they were saying, what are you doing about Alex Berenson? The White House directly contacted Twitter asking what they're doing about Alex Berenson.
I remember with you, that they said something about you, too.
Yeah, the government needs to do more.
The government needs to do
Jen
more.
Psaki.
Jen Psaki, the government should do more.
Or that Spotify should do more.
So they believe that these are their shock troops that can take people off that they don't like.
Yeah.
And then the people on the far left, I think, are also waking up because they, are starting to realize that journalists like Chris Hedges, who was a war correspondent, who's a socialist writer, a brilliant writer, a lot of his stuff was taken off because it happened to be on RT. And they took all, Chris Hedges' show On Contact. They had all of these hours and hours of him conducting interviews
Abby
with
Martin's
people. Abby Martin.
Her entire library was removed.
Entire library.
It's on RT.
So I think people even, it's not necessarily ideology. It's are you a critic of the current regime? Are you a critic of the way that the empire is manifesting itself, however it is? Are you a critic of that? And if you are, how do we deal with you? How do we deal with you? And we'll take the social media, and then eventually we'll take the money. I mean, that's probably what ends up happening.
What do you think they're going to do to you?
I don't know. If I stay where I am right now, like if I don't get to your level, which is going to be, I don't think I will get to your level. If I stay where I am right now, probably nothing. If I get bigger, I don't know. They might shut me off, or they might try to they demonetize a lot of our stuff.
Yeah.
Thank God for awesome companies like Patreon. That
Substack is doing that now. Substack has got podcasts now.
I know. They had a meeting with me. They have no money.
Really?
Yeah, they have no money. I'm not moving from Patreon to Substack for no money. Why would I do that? It's insane. They had a meeting with me, and they're like, yeah, we want you to come over because you like it. I'm like, are you on crack? I know you had one of them here, and they're like nice enough people.
Great guy.
Yeah,
great ethics.
Good. They have him. What if Spotify came to you and instead of 100 million, they said, don't you like it? Don't you want to come over because you like it? It's like, no, get the fucking checkbook out, you cheap fucks. What are we talking about? We're wasting our goddamn time. So, and yeah, I like Substack, and good for them. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're all every day. I try to make good moves with money because I go, we're all living at the whims of an algorithm we don't understand.
Yeah.
And we have no idea who the fuck these people are. Good for Netflix. I just put a special out on Netflix.
Your new material is fucking fantastic.
Well, thank you. The really Netflix is called "The Jews Started AIDS."
Is that real?
Yeah, it's the special. It's called "The Jews Started AIDS."
Is that a true fact?
And it is. And Netflix has not given me any notes on it. They actually said thank you for doing this. No, Ted Sarandos called me personally and said thanks. No, it's a joke. But the new special I put out, we say read jokes about the vaccine. They didn't give us any notes, and they just said, "Oh, you're a big idiot, and you're a comedian, and you can say whatever you want." So that's good. That's a nice thing. And no one really online got too mad about it. One guy wrote, because I made fun of fast food workers, he's like, they don't own the companies. And I'm like, thanks, guy. But, but nobody was that mad. I think we're getting to the point now where things are, people just trying to have fun again.
We were just having that conversation with Louis.
Yes.
Where it's like you could see, he's saying the green grass is coming through the snow.
Yes, all the cool kids now are unwoke. Some of them are going back to Christianity because it's the only way to be rebellious. Because, everybody's blue-haired, non-binary talking about piss orgies. And that's like, it's the cover of Newsweek. So you have to be like a Catholic, Opus Dei, saying the rosary to be a fucking problem now.
Yeah.
Like you used to be able to just dye your hair and get a tattoo and a nose ring. Now that's like, oh, what are you running for Congress? So now the other side of it is a lot of people are kind of going, there's elements of that are good and there's elements of that are not great probably, but that's what young kids are doing now because they're like, fuck this shit. They're like, they've realized that how empty this current world is that we've created spiritually
and morally and everything. Man, the reason I chose this clip, it was because of the censorship, and that's something that I've been dealing with recently, and not understanding. You get a lot of pressure. It's odd. But more so, I picked this clip because look at the things they were just talking about. They're talking about insider trading happening. An article where these people admittedly bought stock and dumped it to, they knew that people would be watching them. Nancy Pelosi, Paul Pelosi, they knew people would be watching them. Dumped it so there wasn't further misinformation. Then we're talking about a possible dictatorship that might be installed and we don't even realize it. Then they're talking about censorship, and Tim just casually said, they'll probably try to shut me off. Look at the things that are just happening in normal conversation. That things that I'm sure a lot of you guys just heard, and you're like, yep. Makes sense? Normal? Yep. It's so crazy what's become the norm. You know? So crazy. We accept that from politicians. We accept the fact that there's going to be massive overreach. We accept the fact that there's going to be censorship to the point of shutting someone off. We don't even know what Tim meant by that. What did he even mean by that? Shut him off like he's done? Or shut his computer off? I don't know. And nowadays you don't know. It could be either nowadays. It's so crazy. So nuts. What's become normal. And, it gets to a point where, I don't know about you, I have no idea how to combat any of this. When it comes to the government, obviously, I always suggest, getting in touch with your local government and making your voice heard that way as much as possible. Not just sending letters or emails because they don't read that. Going to the spaces that they're in and making your voice heard when you can, or when you have, I was going to say when you have permission, but, sometimes you got to just go. And then censorship, it's like I'm fighting that right now. I have no idea what to do. I just keep on keeping on. That's it. That's all I can do. It's a wild little thing. But here's the thing. Here's one of the things. When he talked about the dictator coming in, Joe's like, oh, it'll be like a social credit system. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be in the form of AI. Right? Joe has recently, in a lot of episodes, been talking about AI governing us and having an AI president. Well, maybe that would be the thing, because I've already brought this point up. If there was an AI governing system, it's going to be programmed by somebody. That person's going to actually be the guy behind the curtain. End of story. So it's not going to be AI dictating things. It's actually going to be people at the end of the day. And that people's going to be a very small elite class, and it just happens all over again. We're just all okay with it. Here's another way it could happen too. They could put things in such a state that everybody is craving a savior, that everyone wants a savior. And right away, for a lot of people, Trump might come to mind, but I don't know about that. Here's the thing. If Trump ran, got in office, did his 4 years, who comes next? Then you're really going to need a savior, because he can't run again. You know what I mean? I don't know. But so many times they put us into that state of needing this government daddy of sorts. And I think if anything like that were to happen, it would happen through that. Through us feeling like, oh, we need someone to save us. Who will save us? And then somebody comes and says, I'm the savior. I'm going to save you. I'll save you. It's fine. Come. Everything's saved now. And then it's like, well, you don't want me to leave, do you? And then they just kind of stay in office. I don't know. You got to watch out for that, for people who want actual democracy. It's like, you gotta, let's say it was Trump. You gotta have the guy leave after, which sucks, but who do you trust? Me and my friend were having that conversation just recently. He was saying, he's like, it's crazy that the only family that we can trust in office is like the Trumps. He's like, it's so crazy. And I was like, yeah, I don't know who else. And, there's Robert F. Kennedy, but, he's older. He's a little younger than Trump, but he's old, right? So it's like, who can you trust afterwards? It's very odd. Very odd. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But back to the censorship stuff. And then the fact that, That's why they stay. Oh, let's go right back to that. Tim Dillon, how he brought up the reason that they stay is because if they leave, people will start looking into them. I think that's true. That makes perfect sense. Why they're staying until Nancy Pelosi's 81 years old. I think that's what it is. Because when you're there, you have control. If there's anything that's been done, anything that's not on the up and up, you have to be there. You have to be in it. You have to stay in that high position that you're in, or else you're going to have issues. The exact reason right now everything's happening to Trump, they know. They're like, we have to stay in this position of power, because if we're not in it and he steps back into it, well, he's going to look at everything we did. He's going to go over everything with a fine-tooth comb. And then what's going to happen to us? Indictments, right? Whew. It's very interesting, the world that we live in. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments of everything Tim said. Let me know what you think about the dictator remark and having a dictator installed and we don't even know it. I think AI or a savior. AI could be the savior, but there's going to be, I think, at some point, there's going to be some savior that we're all going to need. And I really don't think it's Trump. And I have a bias because I really like Trump, but I have this, we're not quite in savior mode yet with Trump. Everyone just really likes Trump, right? But he's not quite the savior. You know, I think at some point there's going to be like, if we don't have this, if we don't have anybody to step in and correct everything that's going on, like the world is going to end kind of thing. And I know right now you feel like that's Trump, but things can get worse. A lot of people feel like it's as bad as it's going to get. I feel like it is as bad as it's going to get, but it can get a lot worse. So I don't think Trump is the savior. I don't know. You know what? Let me even check my bias and say, I don't know. Maybe he is that same savior that could get installed and all of us are just like, okay. Because I was telling my friend, and I'll be honest, I was talking to him and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, he gets back in office. I wouldn't be that upset at a fifth year. He does his 4 years. I wouldn't be that upset about a fifth one or a sixth one. And that's not good. There should be better people. There should be a bunch of really good people that you're okay having in office. And I don't have that right now. I got RFK, but who knows? Sometimes I think I'm like, he might be more of the same. He might be, you know? Again, bias. You know, he's a Democrat. I'm not really into that, but who knows? Let me know in the comments what you think. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that follow button. Hit that like button. Hit all those buttons. And I'm out.